Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and today we're going to do the reading habits tag. This tag is very self-explanatory. It is a bunch of questions asking about your reading habits and how they differ from other people or how they're similar to other people. So let's just get right into it so you can learn a little bit more about my reading habits and how somewhat chaotic they are. So the first question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? And I do. I normally read in my living room or in my enclosed front porch, which you will see a lot in my reading vlogs. I never really read in my room because I never really hang out in my room other than to film. I really like hanging out in my living room among other people in the household because I don't like being in a room by myself, because while I do love staying at home, I am an extrovert and I really feed off of other people's energy. So staying in my room all alone reading is not something that I really look forward to. So I really like having a busy atmosphere around me while I read. So that's why I read in my living room or in my front porch, where I can also look out at the windows in my front porch and just see all the shenanigans that are happening on my street. There's always something happening. There's always someone being chaotic, and it is just like TV right in front of me. It's just like watching a play. And it's amazing. Question number 2 is bookmark or random piece of paper. And sometimes I will use a random piece of paper if I have to, if I don't have a bookmark, if I started a book on a whim and I forgot to bring a bookmark with me. But majority of the time I do use a bookmark, and it is the Strand bookstore bookmark. They have these by their cash registers and you can take as many as you want whenever you go to the Strand. And whenever I do go to the Strand, I usually grab a bunch because I tend to use these a lot. I am not a person who buys bookmarks. I don't feel the need or the necessity to buy a bookmark when you can get bookmarks for free at bookstores, or you can use a piece of paper as a bookmark. I don't feel the need to spend money on a piece of paper that's just going to tell me where the place in my book is. Question number 3 is, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain amount of pages? Back then I had to stop at the end of a chapter in order to finish my bout of reading, but now I will stop mid-sentence. I really do not care anymore. I don't even care if I make it to the end of a page or even to the end of a paragraph. I do not care. I will stop mid-sentence, put my bookmark in, and just go about my day. I sometimes like to finish reading like a whole hour of reading centered around a page number sometimes. So like I'll say I'll read up to page 100 today, or I'll read up to page 200 today. But if I have to stop reading, I'm not going to wait to read to the end of a chapter or to page 100. I will literally stop mid-sentence. I do not care. Because if I do finish mid-chapter, I will put the bookmark like halfway like this. So I know when to open the book, it'll be on this part of the page. That's just how I work. So question number 4 is, do you eat or drink while reading? Not usually. Maybe I'll eat like a little snack like pretzels or chips while reading, but I don't tend to eat meals while reading because I can't really multitask like that. I can't really focus on a meal and not spilling that all over my lap while also reading something, because then I lose my place in my book often, going back and forth between my meal and my book, and it just creates a whole thing of chaos and I just cannot do it. I don't know how people eat and read at the same time. I never really do that. Sometimes I'll drink coffee while reading, but most of the time it's water because I spill coffee on me almost every single day because I'm very clumsy. So it's usually always water that I'm drinking while reading. Question number 5 is multitasking. Do I listen to music or TV while reading? I don't usually listen to music while reading because that will distract me, but sometimes I will put on those ambiance YouTube videos like a busy library or a deserted diner ambience type of videos. I really enjoy those. I think my favorite is the Miracle Forest. They have a wonderful selection of ambience videos that are really subtle and really soothing to listen to. So sometimes I will put that on in the background while I read, but it's not that often. But most of the time I do like putting on HGTV in the background while I read. I do like to watch TV while reading. I can somehow multitask while doing that. It does distract me a lot more because I do want to see like the end result of the HDTV renovation, but I do enjoy hearing some sort of background noise while reading, which is why I do read in my living room and I don't read in my room, because I don't like being in a room that's too quiet. I like having some bustling or some voices in the background, so I like having the TV on in the background, and I'll even let my family or friends watch TV while I read. I really do not care. As long as nobody is talking to me directly, they can do whatever they want in the background and I can tune it out and read, and I really don't mind. Question number 6 is one book at a time or several at once. I read multiple books at the same time. I really do not mix them up in my mind. People always tend to ask me that because I read a lot of books at the same time, like if I mix up those stories together, and I never usually read two books that are a part of the same genre. I would never read two fantasy books. I usually read like a nonfiction on audiobook and then a contemporary physically or a fantasy physically. I usually tend to split those genres between the books that I'm reading, and I usually read two books at the same time, one physically and then one on an audiobook, because that way I can multitask and read double the amount of books, and I have never mixed up stories in my mind ever. I just don't, because I remember it, and I really like multitasking and reading books, and it helps me read a lot more books at the same time. Question number 7 is reading at home or everywhere. I read anywhere and everywhere. I bring a book with me every time I leave the house, and I always regret it when I forget to leave with a book, because that's always a time where I have prime reading time, where I'm waiting for an appointment for a doctor, or I'm just sitting around waiting for something, and I could use that time to read, and I always forget my book on those very rare days that I forget to leave my house with a book. So I always try and put a book in my bag whenever I leave the house, or I have an audiobook to listen to when I leave the house. I especially did this a lot in college because there were a lot of breaks in between classes, so I always had a book with me, and I was always sitting around somewhere on campus just reading in a quiet corner, trying to avoid anyone who would approach me and talk to me, because I guess I have a face where it's like, come talk to me. But I don't want people to talk to me. I just want to sit down and read. And yet in college, people always approached me to talk to me. Like complete strangers would be like, hey, what are you reading? And I'm like, oh my god, do we have to go through this? I just want to read my book. So like there are perks to only reading at home because nobody will interrupt you, but reading everywhere is fun. But then you have the opportunity for people to interrupt you and ask about your book. Question number 8 is reading out loud or silently in your head. I don't think I've ever read it out loud. I don't think I've ever read a book out loud, unless it's like for class and we're reading it together. Never read a book out loud, always in my head. Question number 9 is, do you read ahead or even skip pages? If you were to ask like a 12-year-old me, she would have been like, I read the last page of every book that I pick up, because I really don't like surprises. So I used to spoil myself for every book because I didn't like being surprised. But now I've gotten over that, and I've kind of like grown up and gotten away from that habit. So I never skip pages. I never look at the end of a chapter or skip ahead or skip a page. I never do that because I never want to risk one, getting confused and like missing a crucial point in a book that I skipped over, or 2, getting spoiled. Question number 10 is breaking the spine or keeping it like new. I try and keep my books like new, but if the spine breaks, I do not give a shit. Like people always freak out when people dog ear their books or break their spine or highlight their books, and I'm just like, it's their piece of property. Why are you so obsessed with it? Like, it does not change your life in any single way. So like, worry about bigger problems. So I don't mind if my spine breaks, but I will never do it purposefully. But if it breaks because the book is really big and it really flops open and breaks by itself, or if I break it by accident, I really don't care. It's not the end of the world for me. It's not even the end of a minute for me. So I do not care. I will highlight a book. I will annotate a book. I will dog ear a page. I really enjoy a good weathered book, but I don't think I would ever break the spine on purpose, mostly because I don't enjoy the way that a spine kind of flops open once the spine is broken. It kind of flops open a little bit too much, too aggressively. So I try and keep it unbroken, but if it's broken, I really don't care. Question number 11 is, do you write in books? And for certain books I do. I don't write in every single book that I read, but if it's a favorite or if it's a book for college, I will annotate it because I want to take notes, and I really don't mind annotating in books because I like putting my thoughts into a book and really having a conversation with the text. So sometimes I will do that, but not often. I don't do it for every single book. I know some people do it for every single book that they read, but it's usually only for favorites or like academic texts. But I do really enjoy annotating books when I do it because it's really fun to really analyze the text and pay attention to the details that you really like and really don't like. And I feel like whenever I annotate a book or I highlight it fully through, I really retain the book even more, and I really remember a lot more of the book overall because I'm spending a lot of time with the text and having a conversation with it. So I really enjoy annotating, but I don't do it as often as I would like. So those are all the questions for the reading habits tag, and I hope you enjoyed this little tag. I really enjoyed answering all the questions, and it was a fun way to analyze my reading habits. Be sure to follow my Instagram at Stories for Coffee so you can always see what I'm currently reading because I always update that like every single day. And if you want to support my channel, be sure to like and subscribe so you can see more videos in the future. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in another video. Bye!